The Nintendo Switch is definitely home to a vast and rich library of video games. But a lot of these games kind of go under the radar as hidden gems or underrated games. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about 15 Nintendo Switch games that I think are underrated. And the first game that I definitely want to talk about is SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake. This game is a phenomenal 3D platformer. And to be honest, it's not one of the best. It's not up there with Super Mario Odyssey or Kirby and the Forgotten Land. And I'd say the only reason for that is that it just lacks the polish. But it's still a lot of fun. It has some really good 3D platforming, some action platforming. The graphics are solid. They look good in-game. And the cutscenes on the Nintendo Switch look amazing, and it has the original SpongeBob SquarePants voice actors, so it does have good presentation, and the levels are fun. This game just has a lot of charm to it. Kind of brings me back to those early 2000s days of licensed video games. I'd say if you're a fan of 3D platformers and you have all the big ones, you should definitely add this to your collection. I picked it up for 20 bucks, and I've been seeing it going for around that price lately. One more thing that I want to add about this game is that it's a easy, fun for all ages kind of game, but it is a lot of fun. But anyway, on to my next pick. So the second game on my underrated Switch games list is Pokmon Tournament DX. This is a phenomenal fighting game. 21 different Pokemon to fight with, and you also do have support characters who can jump in the battles and help you as well that you get to choose from. 21 main different Pokemon that you get to choose from. And this game switches between 2D and 3D during the fights, which adds a bit of depth to it, and it's just different, makes it unique from other fighting games that I've played. A really great game, and a highlight of this game that I would say is also the visuals. You know, a lot of the main Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch are known for kind of having crappy graphics, but they look great in this game from Bandai Namco. If you're a fan of fighting games and don't have this in your Nintendo Switch collection, you should definitely add it. The first underrated JRPG that I have on this list is Bravely Default 2. Bravely Default 2, in my opinion, is definitely underrated. I think the Metacritic gives this game like a bit below an 8 score, and it's definitely above that. In my opinion, this game should be at least an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. It has a really good fleshed out battle system, and it has the job system. And if you don't know what that is, it's something from the old school RPG era where you can switch between many different classes like White Mage, Dark Mage, Warrior. I think they have, I forgot what it's called, like the Kung Fu, where you kind of brawl with your hands. One thing about this game that I absolutely hated when it was being promoted is the art style, but if you like JRPGs and you give this game a chance, I promise the art style will grow on you. The music is phenomenal, and this game can also be really difficult if you want that. So if you don't like difficult games, I suggest playing it on the easiest difficulty. And another thing to note is that it is pretty grindy, but it gives you a lot of bang for your buck, a lot of hours of gameplay. In my opinion, definitely one of the best JRPGs on the Nintendo Switch that you don't want to miss out on. The Capcom Fighting Collection is a very underrated collection game of 10 classic arcade fighting style games. In my opinion, this game is just very underrated because I've never really heard it talked about too much. And the Darkstalkers games, Vampire Hunter games, Vampire Savior games, whatever you want to call them, are absolutely phenomenal games that you should not miss out on if you're a fan of fighting games whatsoever. Even if you're just a casual fan like myself, I'm not a hardcore fan of fighting games, but these games are truly some of the best arcade style fighting games that I have ever played in my life, and I am so glad that I went and bought this. And with the announcement of the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 coming out, I know that the price on this one has definitely went up as well, but there are reprints from certain retailers like Video Games Plus, so if you're a fan of these type of games, definitely make sure you get your hands on this collection. Speaking of underrated collection games, PacMan Museum Plus is an absolute must-own game if you're a fan of the classic Pac-Man arcade titles. This game comes with over 14 classic Pac-Man games, and they are a lot of fun. And a great feature about this game to me is that you have your own customizable arcade that you get to decorate as Pac-Man. And this game has some of my favorites like Pac-Mania, the classic Pac-Man. Unfortunately, it's missing Miss Pac-Man, but still worth owning for your Nintendo Switch collection. Now, the next game on this list I would just call underrated because it's kind of a niche genre, shoot 'em ups. Well, this one is technically a cute 'em up, but if you're looking to get into this genre, I think this series is one of the best places to start if you like bright, colorful, popping visuals. And that game is Cotton Reboots. And the cool thing about this game is that the visuals are just really nice. They really pop. And a nice feature about it is that it actually features the original game. So you can play with the classic graphics or in the new remake style, which is really awesome. It's definitely challenging, but anybody can play through it if you just use the unlimited lives and keep going that way, which is honestly what I did because I'm not too good at these games, but it's still fun and I'm glad to have it in my collection. And Cotton Fantasy is the newest in this series, and the visuals in this one look absolutely amazing. There's different characters that you can unlock and play as that have different play styles, and it's just really visually charming, which is my favorite thing about it. In my opinion, if you're looking to get into shoot 'em ups or cute 'em ups, as we call these kind of games, this is the perfect game to start with. Another underrated JRPG for the Nintendo Switch that I absolutely have to talk about is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. This game has great visuals, great vibrant colors, a great art style, the anime style to it, great music, and it has an absolutely phenomenal battle system. It uses the press turn combat system from the Shin Megami Tensei games. If you're a fan of the Shin Megami Tensei or Persona games, you should definitely check this one out. And another great thing that it has going for it is that the characters are really well written. Although this game does not have an English dub, the writing in this game still managed to make me laugh and smile quite a bit, which to me says that it's definitely really well written. And it definitely has a good amount of hours to it. I mean, it's kind of on the short side for an Atlas game, around 40 hours if you try to get through it quickly, but you can take your time with it if you want to do all the side quests. In my opinion, this is definitely one of the best underrated JRPGs for the Nintendo Switch. If you're looking for an unconventional but a really fun 3D platformer, then look no further than Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble. This game is a phenomenal 3D platformer, and I really like the gameplay loop of being a monkey in the ball, being able to just rush to the goal as fast as you want, or take your time and get all the collectibles. And I really like how you can kind of tilt yourself, fall off the stage to get to a shortcut to get to the goal even quicker if you want to play like that. And another feature that I like about this game is it is beginner friendly. If you fall off the stage a bunch of times, it'll activate this kind of helper mode. And basically it shows you a shadow of your character that will guide you to the goal for some of the harder levels if you don't know what to do. And you can even turn that feature off if you don't want the assistance in the game. It has a lot of characters you can choose from. It has online competitive modes that are really fun as well. It has local co-op, and it is one of the best 3D platformers that has come out recently. And I definitely think it's underrated, as the Metacritic has it below an 8. I think this game should sit at least an 8.5. Definitely an underrated Switch game. Ys 8 is an action JRPG that I often hear talked about for the Nintendo Switch. But another Ys game that I don't hear talked about nearly as much is Ys Origin. This is the first game in the Ys story, and the combat and gameplay in this game is a lot of fun. You have 3 different characters that you can play at through the story, so there is some replay value there with that. The visuals are really good as well. It has a top-down isometric style, kind of reminds me of old school Legend of Zelda. And the gameplay is just top tier. The music is good. The story is solid. This is a solid at least 8.5 out of 10 type of game in my opinion. I don't know what the Metacritic stands at, but this actually I would say is a must-own action JRPG for the Nintendo Switch. An absolute true underrated fighting game for the Nintendo Switch is Power Rangers Battle for the Grid Super Edition. This game is right up there with other 3 versus 3 tag team fighting arcade style games like Marvel vs. Capcom and Dragon Ball Fighters, in my opinion at least. It has that kind of quality to it. The gameplay is a lot of fun. The special moves are really good. You have a great selection of Power Rangers characters for those who have nostalgia for that series, and it's definitely a must own if you're a fan of fighting games and have a Nintendo Switch. I don't know what else to say about this game. I really like it. Actually, I do know what else to say about this game. It also does have a pretty cool story mode, which takes you through the Power Rangers story, but I've never beaten it because I'm kind of sucky at these kind of games, so most of my fun playing this game has been spent in the local multiplayer. Live Alive is one of the most unique JRPGs and just one of the most unique video games that I have ever played, because this game features 7 different individual stories that all feel like their own game, and they all take place in different times and places in history, like prehistory, the Wild West, Imperial China, present day, the near future, and the distant future, and they all come together in the end for an 8th story, which is the Middle Ages. This game has really good music, really great, gorgeous HD 2D visuals, and a really good turn-based battle system. It's your typical turn-based, but not really, because it takes place in a grid, and you have to position your characters in the right way to secure victory. Some highlight stories in this package for me are prehistory, the Wild West, present day, the near future, and the distant future. One thing that I like about the present day is that it plays like a fighting game. You have to fight different fighters from across the world, and as you fight them, every time you get hit by them, you get to learn their moves, so you get to add to your move set. And the way this game ends is really cool. And this game, from what I understand, sold well, but it didn't sell crazy. So for that reason right there, I would say it's underrated. It's definitely like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10 JRPG. In my opinion, definitely a must own on the Nintendo Switch. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is not your big 2D Mario adventure game, but if you don't mind a 2D puzzle platformer, this is one that I truly believe you should not miss. The gameplay loop in this game is a lot of fun. It starts off kind of slow and easy and gets more difficult the further you progress. I really enjoyed the Donkey Kong boss battles in this game. The visuals look good. The music is great. The cutscenes look phenomenal. And it is just a ton of fun. It can get pretty addictive, but it's not a game that you're going to sink a ton of hours into. It is just one of those quick pick up and play games, so there is some replay value because of that, in my opinion. And I do think it's a bit underrated. It didn't get a lot of hype because it's a remake of the GBA game, so if you haven't played the Game Boy Advance version of this game, definitely check this one out. Rune Factory 5 for the Nintendo Switch is not a perfect game, but it is an underrated game to me, because this game did get some hate for the performance issues that it has, and I did experience them myself a little bit through the game. There would be times that I was just walking through the town and my character would just start moving really slow and everything would slow down because the frame rate was inconsistent. But I still had a lot of fun with this game. This is a really fun and charming farming sim slash action RPG. It is cozy. I love the music. I love the gameplay loop. I love the characters. And I mean, I just love this game for what it is. If I want to play this style of game, this is the game that I'm going to go to. I haven't played any other games in this genre, admittedly, but from what I understand, you can get this game for pretty cheap right now, and I'd say that it is worth it if you like this style of game. Now, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I truly do believe that Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee for the Nintendo Switch are the best mainline Pokemon games for the console. They have the best visuals, graphics, and art style, and Gen 1 is just a classic, one of the best Pokemon adventures that there is to be had in the Kanto region. This adds a little something different as you get, I believe it's the Alolan forms, which is really cool. And instead of taking the time to grind it out and battle these Pokemon, you just get to catch them. And it's not that bad like people make it seem. I don't mind it. It's a different take on Gen 1, a really charming, fun game. You get the different outfits for your character and for Pikachu, so it kind of makes it like a more cozy, simplified Pokemon adventure. A bit more quick to play through if you want to do that, but it also can add a lot more hours if you want to battle all the different trainers who are the master of the individual Pokemon that they master in. So that's it for this list. If you have any underrated Switch games that you would recommend, why don't you let me know in the comments below? And if you're not already, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more great Nintendo Switch and gaming related content. Peace.